We're getting the cars gridded up now. We've got a car on the infield, Bob. I hope that doesn't cause a yellow flag in an extra formation lap. But that's actually Ian Edgar's old car, the Lola, that's recently been sold. But we're about to see, hopefully, a green flag and get this 10-lap race underway.
Yes, it looks like the right rear wheel is pointing at a different angle to the others.
It certainly is.
So it looks as if something in the suspension has collapsed on that car. Luckily, it wasn't at racing speed when we discovered it. Revs are rising.
Red lights on. Red lights
away.
off.
A good start by Fu, but McBride pulls him in, and McBride easily gets to the lead, and following him is
Andrew Reid.
Yes, so Declan Fu has been relegated to third position. There goes Andrew McGuinness flying up on the inside, passing a few cars. We'll call the places as they go past. So after lap 1, we're looking at another car that's off, and that's car number 5, which is Warwick Valletta and a Van Diemen, an FA car. There's 3 of them. Wow.
There's also Paul Faulkner as well, and there's most likely going to be a red flag for that. And we've also got Grant Walker in his new Swift off there. He's looking pretty beached.
Yes, it's wet over there. The sun's out, it looks all right.
So we've got safety car boards and flags out there now.
There he goes. So that means they'll be forming up behind the safety car.
Very glad I didn't make the call that we've got through the first couple of turns unscathed.
Yes, we hope there's not a red flag. They should be able, being Formula Fords, they should be able to get them out pretty easy.
They should. And we go to a yellow flag. We've got, oh, there's a car spearing off down towards the back end of the track in a very big way, off in the infield. That's just started seating itself on the apex of the second last corner. It's far from ideal, Bob.
No. So Malcolm Osler slipped into the, while we were watching everything else going on, Malcolm Osler is in place 1, but as they bunch up behind the safety car, this negates his little bit of a gap he caused, he made. Declan Fu sitting in 3rd. Jonathan Miles still in 5th, where he was on the grid.
I believe he's made up a place. He's in 4th.
Right. The one on screen had him as 5th, but you're right, he is 4th. No, the computer's now putting him back into 5th.
And we've got Grant Walker rejoining the track now, so that's good to see. That means we'll definitely not have a red flag. Always ideal, because once you've got the helmet on, Bob, you don't want to put the visor up at any stage during the race to have to stop.
Thanks. It's me dog. All right, well, they are sending out the trailer, the tractor, to retrieve that Formula Ford. So I would suggest, Joss, it's well and truly bogged.
I'd suggest it certainly is.
Send out that thing to put the prongs underneath and lift it up.
So that's Valletta out there in a newly painted RF75, an FA car. Beautiful little car, that one. That doesn't look like it's going anywhere in a hurry at all.
No, these laps that they are following the safety car do count. The computer doesn't seem to say that, but unless... Oh no, this will only be the second lap. Cars weaving around to keep their tyres nice and warm. The tractor getting in position. The truck waiting for the tractor to lift the Formula Ford up in the air and put it on the back of the truck. We don't see that very often.
Well, we've got a bit of spare time, Bob. We may most likely thank our sponsor for this race, Aviation Components, based down in Mentone. Thank you very much for sponsoring the event. Lots of crack testing and all that sort of thing done down there, and that you won't meet a better team to help you out with that kind of thing.
Car number 88 on the screen, which is Nigel Hook in the Van Diemen RF89. Like I said, 89 means it was built in 1989. So even the most modern cars are 34 years old.
So under safety car, we've got McBride in control,
And
followed by Andrew Reid and Fu in third. Doing a very good job in that new car is Declan Fu.
incredible.
And John O'Miles, who we definitely expect to be a bit further up. Obviously just not his weekend so far, but that can certainly change. He's sitting in fourth position. We've got Will Liston in the number 28 behind him. Andy McGuinness, Sean Whelan, Andrew Nethercote, and we've also got Koutsamidis in the top 10 as well. And rounding out the 10 is Richard Davison.
And the first of the FA cars is, we've lost it. Wait till the computer gets back there, is Manifold in 15th position. And the first of the FB cars is Willing in 11th position.
Weaving the tyres very, very aggressively. It's very important, Bob, that we keep up the tyre temp behind the safety car, because you don't want to be running into turn one, braking at about 50 metres and locking up a brake because you don't have brakes and you don't have any grip on the tyres.
No, and as we've seen here today, you'll end up in the mud.
And the mud is a place you won't get out of without help, so...
Well, even to the extent of sending a tractor. We've got another lap to go under the safety car, then it will be in. I see the fire truck has just gone out in the track. I don't know why, but we'll keep our eye on that. We're following car number 77, which is
Nigel Hook.
In a Van Diemen again. The Van Diemens have absolutely nothing to do with Tasmania. They are built in England. In fact, the majority of all these cars are from England. Very few Australian ones in. Few Elfins, of course, a Bowen. In fact, when Formula Ford came to Australia, you had to have an Australian-built car. You could not import a car from overseas, so that helped people like Bowen and Elfin to really get into business and start churning out these Formula Fords. And of course, Elfin won the Drivers' Championship for several years in a row with Larry Perkins. I think the first one was Richard Knight, who then went to England and stayed there, raced in England, and then opened a Mazda dealership, I think. The next one to win was Perkins. He went over there and then actually got into Formula One and drove a BRM in Formula One, did a few races for them, then came back to Australia. So these cars, all of these cars have got a history, Joss, haven't they?
They certainly have, and there's a car out there at the moment that is of American heritage. So that's Eric Bellamy in the Van Diemen Piper. So it was actually built back in 1986 to look essentially like a Swift, and it was built by a fellow named Don Siebenpiper. And he essentially put a big wig on the back and recorded his own car, and Eric's running around at the moment. And yeah, second meeting in that car.
Why is it called a Van Diemen?
Because essentially the chassis was a Van Diemen, but right, the rest of the underpinnings of the car was made in-house. So we've got the safety car in this lap. All the cars have got to stop weaving, stop warming up their tyres. And McBride's going to have control as we lead the field into turn 1.
It always amazes us commentators that some of these blokes don't bunch up. Can't believe that they don't bunch up when we're coming up for a start. Some of those stragglers at the back are leaving 20 or 30 metres between the next car. You should have your nose cone underneath the gearbox of the bloke in front of you.
And the red mist certainly doesn't get any better when you're behind somebody who's got a big
and he's
gap.
jumped.
He's got McBride taking the lead into turn 1.
So, 6 laps to go. 4 down. And McBride still leads Reed, Fu, Miles and Liston. A bit of a passing move there.
Declan Fu showing the nose, and John O'Miles up the inside of Declan Fu, so that's a change for 3rd place. Declan's been forced out wide and will drop back to 5th. It's a bad restart for Declan.
And looks like he's got Miles right behind him. So the leader. McBride, Reed, Food, Miles and Liston on our screen. McBride opened up a really good lead for Formula 4. That's a very strong lead, as you can see from the next 2, 4, 5 cars behind him. They're all nearly nose to tail.
That sort of a gap is really important if you're leading a race, Bob, because you don't want to have the cars gaining from your slipstream at all. And Formula 4 being a very light and underpowered category in comparison to some of the more powerful cars we've seen this weekend, it's very important that you've got as much of the draft benefit as you possibly can.
So Miles up into 3rd now. He's 0.7 of a second away from the lead. He's displaced Fu. Fu's dropped down to 5th position.
And we've got Andrew McGuinness off in the sand at turn 4.
Oh, unusual for him.
Certainly unusual.
In fact, he's still not back on the track yet. There he goes.
And will rejoin at the very, very back end of the top 10 after being in 5th or 6th position. So that's a far from ideal restart. The battle for 3rd is still well and truly on. So we've got Will Liston at the front, trying to force the issue down the inside of John O'Miles. And we've also got Fu behind them waiting to pounce just in case anything does happen between these two. One of them runs a little bit wide or something along those lines. So,
well, that's what he's hoping.
He's certainly hoping that.
Make one mistake and I'm there. So a great dice there for 3rd position. 3 cars going for it.
And Liston will have the benefit of the draft down the front straight coming into turn 1. So watch for a potential move there. Jono covers very, very well and retains his 3rd position.
Well, it's a riveting dice, this. And Fu is doing extremely well for his first race at Mellow in a new car for him.
It certainly is. And we're watching John O'Miles make the RF89 about as wide as the track.
There we go.
Fu around the outside of Liston.
Yes. Oh, went the inside and gets the inside and takes the place. Well done, that man.
Very, very well executed by Declan. So
Here's a big slipstream coming. No.
Round the outside. That's a bit of a brave one.
Yeah.
Coming onto the new section of the track.
Never mind the slipstream. I'll just drive around the outside here. But didn't come off. However, he's got the inside running.
Declan struggles for traction running onto the new section of the track, so that'll mean Liston will have to go the long way around the outside coming into the second last corner, and he holds it off too. Very good move around the outside. Fru's got all that work to do to get back into fourth position again.
And Miles is able to put a little bit of distance between himself and them. As they're dicing, they're obviously not driving as fast as you can when you can do what you like. One's covering the other.
So Fru's just going around the outside of Liston, but Liston's going to have the benefit of the racing line up the inside.
Oi,
Declan runs wide, he's on the sand.
Wow, that's a shame.
Back on the track now though, but he's lost all the ground he made up there.
Yep. And meanwhile, back at the track. Jacob Manifold we see in car number 7, which is a Titan, Mark 6, a FA car, one of the early ones.
And we've got Willing in 9th position, which is a very, very good effort. Mixing it amongst all the FC boys, so very, very well done. In the Alwyn, I believe it is.
Yes, and he's in 9th position, as you say, very good. First to the FB.
And Jono Miles has made his way up to 2nd position, getting up the inside of Andrew Reid. So maybe it was just an average qualifying, just didn't quite click with him, or the car wasn't quite right, and he's making all the ground back up now.
Yep, well, it's a 10-lapper, and there's 2 to go. We're on lap, oh, big slide. Car 28, using up everything there. Keeping it just, but Malcolm Osler keeping it just under control. Very experienced punter is Malcolm, and he's showing that with the Liston on track, he's 3rd. Long way back behind Miles, long for a Formula Ford, behind Miles 2nd. There's a replay of the of Fu going off the track, going a bit too wide there, 1 foot off onto the, and that's it, into the gravel. Lucky he doesn't get bogged, he'd lose much time. He kept going, but that was the end of him.
Very good car control to
it was.
Keep it in the right direction, because once you get on that green stuff, it's very, very difficult to keep the car controlled. So we've got a massive, massive gap from McBride to Miles, over 8 seconds now. So Jono will really, really need to pull his finger out if he wants to get anywhere near McBride on this last lap.
Good thing about Formula Fords, there's dices all over the track. Some of these blokes will be dicing for 15th position. They wouldn't even care or know who won. They're just having a ball out there. As witness the 2 that are on screen at the moment.
So we've got Faulkner and Richardson having a very good battle coming through the back section of the track, but McBride just about to round the final corner now to take victory. What's been a very, very commanding race from lights to flag.
Well, we'll just call it, see how many seconds he wins by as he crosses the line.
Takes the checkered
He
flag.
crosses the line when Miles crosses the line, because this will mean that tomorrow Miles will be on the front row of the grid with McBride, so that could be interesting.
And nearly 10 seconds from McBride to Miles, and we've got Liston just over half a second behind.
So McBride won by 9.8 seconds, which is a huge group for Formula Ford. So the places are McBride, Miles, Liston, Fu, Nettleford, Davison, Koutapides, Willing and Richardson, and coming up in 10th is Faulkner. So the top 10 all down to 8th place are FC cars. Willing was the first FB car in 8th position.
It's a very good effort there from Steve.
And Manifold is the first FA car in 13th position, so that's not too bad either for a FA car. So that was it. Thanks, Josh. We'll wait till tomorrow where we'll see them do 2 8 laps.
Thank you very much, Bob.
Right, there's the results, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, down to 7th are FC cars, 8th is an FB, and the first FA was 13th position.
Righto, so cars just about ready to make a start. Bob, and you can take the lead as they go off the line.
Let's see what Miles can do, as we said, from the front row. McBride won yesterday. Miles started 5th, came 2nd. We got Declan Fu too in 4th position, which is great because it's a new car for him and a new category to race in. There they go. Miles gets a good jump. We'll see just how good it is as they come down into the first corner. The whole field well away, and it looks like Miles is leading. No, he isn't. McBride's got in front, and in fact, there's a great dice going on behind McBride. McBride is starting to spread it out, but the cars behind him are all bunched up. McBride in a Swift, an unusual car for Australia, but there's a couple of them in this race. And this is an 8-lapper. McBride has already come out to about a 20-metre lead. There goes Miles having this great dice.
To see on our monitor, we've got a lot of sun shining on the monitor, so it's a bit hard to follow it for the moment. But we're cooking McBride, Miles, Liston, Fu, and Declan doing very well there in 4th place in a new car, a new category to him.
So Miles is not only dropping back, but having a lot of trouble with that car behind him, which we just can't pick his number up.
So they come down onto the main straight again. We've got a spin that's on camera over on the turn up to the short straight at the back there. But the way they go down the long main straight, and car 4 at Bride, then Miles, Liston, Fu, Nethercote, Richard Davison is in there. One of the Davison families still competing here at Motorsport, and car getting off the track there onto the main straight as we go back to the leaders now, heading up on the short straight there before the big sweeper, and it's McBride way out in front. Miles, Liston, Fu, Nethercote, Davison, Willing, McInnes in that first group as they go up towards the tank corner. And a good lead as far as Formula Fords go, with Miles, McBride I should say, just ahead of Miles by a good second or so. They sweep up the top of the track there through the cleavage area, down onto the long straight.
Well, we've got a spin.
The spinner there, can't see the number. I can tell you it's a red car, Bob, but
it's red and
about any side onto us, can't see the number.
he's facing the wrong way. He's waving, but they've all dodged around him, thank goodness.
Here he is over here, trying to find reverse gear, which is a bit awkward.
He's got it and he's away. That's good. The first of the FB cars is Willing in position 7, and the first of the FA is Manifold down in 15. So 2 down. 3 down, sorry, 5 to go, and McBride a good second ahead as they went over the start-finish line for their 3rd lap. Then Miles, and there's only 0.3 of a second between him and Liston, as you can see, as they fly up the back straight, and they've cut that lead down a little, I think, Ron. Looks like they might be catching McBride, or maybe McBride's just capping off. And there's another one, no?
That's
Yes,
car number 2 is at Andrew McGuinness. McGuinness in car number 2 beats himself somewhere over on turn 4. So back to the lead cars, we can get them on screen. We're back to 95, car number 95. The hounded by 45, that's Faulkner and Connolly. As they go down to the short straight there, down to the 50-yard marker. Heavy braking goes on right there as they do a left-hand turn. Then we go back to car 51, that's Miles. And
well, there's a
safety car coming out apparently. That car is in a rather vulnerable spot.
This is why the safety car's out on this replay. There he goes, sliding off and just pulled up short of the fence. That's McInnes. He had a bit of an off yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Which is very unusual for him. Very. So it must be double waved yellows. The safety car isn't out there, but it's the same thing. They have to slow down.
We've gone 4 of 8 laps so far, Bob, so a little bit to go. Hopefully we can clear it away before get underway again.
Yep. This allows the cars to bunch up a little. I think they're supposed to hold station, but here comes the safety car now out onto the track. Yeah.
Apparently the safety car missed the leaders, so
yes,
that'll throw the cat amongst the pitches for a moment to sort that out.
Yeah, well, if you're coming up behind the safety car, do you pass it? We're about to find out. See, this car's coming up behind. He slowed down.
They've all slowed to a crawl.
Because you're not allowed to pass the safety car. Yes, yes. So the safety car should pick up the leader so that the whole pack retains its form and slows down. But he missed the leaders. So we've got car number 31.
Well, it's going back to Chris O'Connor in the Royal, car 31.
Yeah, in the Royal 31, and he is, let's see where he is. He's
back in 31, he's not on screen there. Yes, he is, back down there, O'Connor.
Yeah, he's in 24th position. So we've got car in the 24th position leading the pack. Unusual, Ron.
Certainly is, Bob. Okay, so they've extracted the car from down on turn 3. As we can see on screen there, the safety crew doing an excellent job again this weekend. They've had to tippy-toe their way through some mud this weekend too. We've had some cars going off yesterday, and they were parking the recovery vehicle well away from where the car was stuck in the middle of the mud somewhere, so they didn't get bogged.
Yes, it was not torrential, but it rained all Friday afternoon up here, and the ground is still wet on Sunday here. And we had a Formula Ford go off yesterday, and they had to bring out a tractor with prongs
To get him out of the
to
mud.
lift him out of the mud.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this race being brought to us by Cool Drive Distribution, of course. The Blanchard family, always very supportive of all things motorsport, particularly in the Formula Fords. So thanks to the Blanchard family and Cool Drive Distribution. We love cool cars down at Cool Drive.
All right, well, the field has sorted itself out behind the safety car, so we now have McBride as the first one behind the safety car. And, you know, Ron, we always comment on this, don't we?
They're like Brown's cows behind the safety car.
Exactly, you would put your nose cone underneath the gearbox of the car in front of you.
You would think so.
Yeah, but no.
Now, where are these cars appeared from? There's another three
Well,
cars.
they're at the end of the field, which is a good 3/4 of a lap behind.
A long way back.
Yeah. Yeah, they're the last ones. Well, that Swift isn't the last one. He is now. They're the ones that waved through the leaders. But I would have thought they'd be able to attach themselves to the tail better than that. However,
We're going through for another lap.
still behind the safety car.
The safety car has picked up a bit of pace, but the others haven't.
And we mentioned yesterday and a bit this morning about Declan Fu in that Royale, car number 88. This is only his second meeting in that car. The first one was over at Malala, and I think he won over there. So the first time in the car, in that circuit, and he won, and here he qualified very well. And he's sitting in 4th position, which is a fantastic effort for first time out in a car that he's not all that familiar with, and the track.
Well, thank you to Penrite, of course, as one of their junior drivers.
Yes.
Penrite are very, very encouraging to get some of the younger drivers up there, and they are very, very good at pushing some juniors through, and Declan is one of them.
Safety car is coming in on this lap. Those laps that they've followed the safety car around are counted. So when the safety car comes in, they'll only have 2 laps, I think, maybe even 1. Oh, we have. That's my mate's old car.
That's G.D. Gotterio, is it?
Yep. He's had a spin. He was one of the last cars there that had waved him through, and he's had a spin on the warm-up lap.
Well, I guess, actually on the formation lap, they were trying to catch up. The other 2 cars that he was with are now up at Tank Corner.
Yeah.
They're not going to catch up to the back of the field anyway, so...
Right, well, the safety car will stay out because we've got to recover car 73, which, as you saw on screen, spun on the lap behind the safety car, and is still there. So that has to be retrieved, and they've done 7 out of 8.
Trying to decide where to put the strap.
Yeah, exactly. We've got 1 lap to sort it out. It might just finish under the safety car, which is a bit of a shame, but let's see what happens. The crew are struggling to get that car out of the way as quick as possible.
Issues up there. I saw them try to put the slat strap onto the front of the car, and they tried to put it onto the and he's actually got it going.
Yes.
So that's what
all right, let's see. Yes, very good job for the crew to get that going, and we could have a one-lap sprint coming up. Or will this be the final lap? Let's see. Righto, it will be. We've been advised by control. The safety car will come in and they will have this one lap. Now, as we said, Ron, you would think they would bunch up, wouldn't you?
but they're not. Oh, they might think of another sort of way to do it yet. So yes, hopefully they'll catch up to each other. Yes, they've heard what you were just calling out then, Bob.
Well, the front ones have. There's still gaps down the back, but as you say, they've got time to bunch up. So McBride, Miles, Liston, Fu, Nethercott, Davison, Willing, Kousamides, Richardson, Faulkner. They're the top 10 at the moment. Will that change in one lap?
Like an Indian file as they head up towards the start line again.
And Miles is giving
all right to go.
Yeah, McBride has done it again. He's moved over and got a good lead there, particularly if there's only one lap to go as they come down into turn one. Cars tend to bunch up. And they do bunch up. They've could put that short lead in. Miles still sitting in second. Liston looking for a way round Miles. Declan Fu still sitting in fourth position there as they go up the straight into the sweeper, and Miles is looking as if he wants to get past McBride, and Liston looks as if he wants to get past Miles. They're pity it's only a one-lapper, Ron.
Absolutely, they're really at it this time as they go up through the tight part of the top of the circuit there, down through the cleavage area there, and it's McBride, Miles, Liston and Fu really having a go.
Yeah, Fu's attached himself to that lot. So there's the top four on your screen now with only half a lap to go, if that.
Or a bit of a lock up there from the third car in that group there as they come back onto that straight up towards the top end of the circuit. But certainly McBride there with Miles in behind him, then Liston. We think Fu's still in behind here. He was
yep.
He's in the fourth row. Here we go over the strike. This will be the first, second and third. So McBride, Miles, Liston, Fu, back to Nethercote. Davison got up there for sixth place. And Steve Willing.
Willing is the first of the FP cars in seventh, yep. So McBride won by 0.17 of a second. And Miles actually did the fastest lap at 30.5.
So we've had some very close finishes the last couple of races, Bob.
Yes, we have indeed. So the top 10 being McBride, Miles, Liston, Fu, Nethercott, Davison, Willing, Kousamides, Richardson and Faulkner. And the first FP car was Willing, and the first FA car Manifold down there in 14. So that's it. Formula Ford's at Winton, always a good race, and we look forward to seeing them later on this afternoon. And we again thank Cool Drive for sponsoring that race. Cool Drive are well behind all forms of motorsport, particularly historic. find his rightful place, as he would think, on the front row of the grid this time. Let's see what he can do. Declan Fu missing in position number 4. That's a shame. Been going so well this weekend. Revs rising. Away, and a good jump from Miles, but he did that this morning too. As they go out of our picture, we'll wait until we can see whether it worked. Oh, and looks like McBride has dropped right back, and he's in 3rd. Very unusual. And we've got Davison, I think, that has come up to 2nd position as the whole field streams through. Everyone's away safely, which is always great. So there's McBride sitting back in 4th or 5th. So we missed that. Something he was. Miles got a little bit of a jump on him, but not much. But when the cameras came back, there we got it. Miles, Davison, and McBride. Davison having a go at Miles too. Is it Davison? No, it's Liston. Sorry, Liston, who was 3rd on the grid. So we've got Miles, Liston, McBride. McBride would not be real happy about that. He's got another 7 laps to do something about it. As they come around onto the original main straight, then turn left onto this new part of the circuit, new being about 15 or 20 years old, but for us, Ron, it's new.
It is, absolutely, Bob. It's a great dice for McBride, Miles and Liston. And Fu, of course, not in the event. He's on the program, but not running today for this event. Anyway, on the straight they come, nose to tail, up each other's exhaust, down towards the S's, and a passing move going down the side. It might have been Liston, is it? Trying to get
Liston,
by.
yes, but can't do it.
No.
Oh, McBride, I think, mounts the back of the Liston. Just popped a wheel up there a bit. No damage to either car. McBride looks to have a dive down the inside, but he's not close enough. Car number 45.
45 is
B.
B. Connolly. Connolly's out. And minus the front nose and a few other bits, so not sure where he went off.
He's obviously clouded something.
Oh, he's right over here, Bob. And
yes.
the infield.
Well off the track. Meanwhile, back at the front, it's all happening. Well, it would all be happening right through the entire grid because there are lots and lots of individual dices going on, but we're concentrating on the front because they are absolutely nose to tail. So go down the old main straight yet again. Fastest time is Miles. He's done a 38 dead. Liston's done a 38.15, McBride a 38.42. There's nothing in it, however, and when they went across the line, Liston was 0.14 of a second behind Miles. So you can't get much closer than that. Minus down past the pits. Oh, there's a pull out from McBride. Pulls out, tries to go down the inside. Has he done it?
No, not quite.
Not quite, and he tries to get back under again, but Liston holding him off. Liston will squeeze over. No, and McBride gets... No, well... McBride tried to get down to the inside, but Liston wasn't having anything of that. That gives Miles a little bit of a lead. While those two battle it out, they obviously... Safety car out for some reason, we know not why, but we'll find out for you. Obviously a car's gone off somewhere. Not the one that we saw earlier, because that's right in the middle, well out of the way. Or is it? That's why they're doing it. But I don't know why they could leave that car there. Yeah, it looks like it's car 45. I can't see anything else. Strange, because it's well out of the way of any competing car, but there you go. So the cars will bunch up behind the safety car. Normally, you would think, oh, good, the front 3 or 4 will bunch up and the race will on. Well, the front 3 or 4 were bunched up, Ron. Well, the front 3
certainly were. Therefore, I don't know what reason, because we didn't see the incident, whether the cameras picked it up. Okay,
Right,
thanks.
We do have a replay of the incident, which will come up shortly.
Oh, and the tractor's coming into action again too, Bob.
Oh, it's bogged. We had
Thank you.
replay coming up, top of screen. Oh,
Whoa.
dear me. Well, that is unusual. I've never seen that before. Just made an immediate right turn.
I think he hit the back of the car.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Yep. And that launched him.
Need to see that in slow-mo, guys, if you can.
Yeah.
But he certainly launched himself into the infield. There's no doubt about it.
No.
They actually have taken the driver away in the course ambulance vehicle, but I think he walked out to the car, so maybe a little shock involved with that. Here we go again. Oh, no, he just appeared to do a right-hand turn.
Yeah, there seemed to be a gap between him and the other car. Just
Great.
maybe something broke in the steering, the front suspension. We had heavy rain from noon Friday right through afternoon and night, so the outfield is very wet still, even on Sunday, as you can see, because on Saturday a car went off at the end of the old pit straight, and they had to use that tractor with a fork on the end of it that they can stick under the car and pull it out of the bog, and they've had to use it again today on that car.
The infield must be saturated in
Yes.
there. Steady.
So we'll wait till they're out of the way. Tractor and the safety car are coming off. The truck has still got the safety car will be in this lap. The truck is getting out of the way. So you couldn't get any closer. The top three couldn't get any closer than what they were racing before. But the next 4, 5, 6 and 7 are all bunched up too. So we'll see if they can change things when we get going, which will not be long. Miles, Liston, McBride, they're the top three. 4 laps down out of 8 So after this, it's 4 laps, and McBride leads them away. Nose to tail. Liston. No, McBride tries to get up on the inside of Liston. He's over there. Can he do it? No, he can't. Liston's also all over the back of Miles, so these three are at it again. Behind them is another group that are racing away with McBride, Davison in there. Nethercoats up there in 5th. Here come the leaders, and there's all Liston all over the back of Miles. Davison in the red car, number 3, has moved up into 4th position, a little bit behind, only 1.6 seconds behind Davison. Is Nethercoat and Kusamindis. That's the top 6. Willing has moved up into 7th, and Miles leads them down again. Looking for a tow is Liston. Doesn't get one, or doesn't pull out, doesn't try. Down the main straight, they spread apart. Oh, there goes McBride diving from left to right, and looks like he may have taken second. He has. So McBride making a move on Liston and taking over second position. Now he's going to attack Miles. 2 laps to go. Can he do it? Liston probably dropping back a bit. No, he's not. He's making up the move. He's having a run as they go around the sweeper at McBride. McBride has got the fastest lap with a 31.6, but the others are 31.7, 31.8. So he's got that nose cone right under the Ulan gearbox, Ron.
He certainly has, Bob, and it's been a good, clean race so far, as you say, with Miles listed at McBride swapping places a little bit. But Miles in the blue car has just got the legs at the moment. And got McBride in the white car. That's up into second place. It's car number 4 on McBride. So he's the mover of these 3. Just waiting for his bite. He's got about a lap and a half or so to do it. So up they come through the top end of the circuit.
So McBride has won the race on Saturday, won the race this morning. Desperate to win this race as well, but they go across the line, 7 down, and he pulls out alongside Miles. Miles is out braking him into the corner, and the fastest lap is McBride at a 1:30.9, so he's broken the 1:31s. Liston tagging on the back there, don't forget him. He's in with a chance. These two have any mistake, Liston will go through. Liston actually right up the back of McBride. McBride right up the back of this. You can throw a blanket over the 3 of them. 3 different lines through that corner, all seeking some sort of an advantage.
Now some other dice is going back in the field too there. Got the Logan Holmes car that's looks get back car 65. That's Willing. Willing's often up near the pointy end as well, but not so much this weekend.
Well, he's still the first FB car, so he's doing pretty well. And look at that, there's 8 cars in that little dice. So as we say, these blokes will have a ball. I don't know who wins, don't care who wins much. They're having a ball amongst themselves.
Car 12 is Kodamitis, is it?
Kodamitis, yes.
Kodamitis. He's holding that group of bay.
Well, he's leading the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars as they go down the straight. However, back we are, last lap, and this is it. Miles still leading. Sometimes it doesn't pay to lead on the last lap.
Absolutely, my word.
If McBride can get a tow and pull out, however, Miles has opened up a big gap of about 3 car lengths.
I was going to 3-4 metre forward lengths is quite a bit.
But McBride has cut that down to 1. Liston's still hanging in there.
Pretty much holding station, and I think Miles has just got the edge by half a horsepower perhaps on the long straights.
Liston dropping back now. He was in it, he's not now. Not unless these two both do something silly, and I can't see that happening. McBride moves up a little on under brakes, going through the corner. He's right behind him. Will he get a tow? Coming up to the start-finish line. And McBride Miles wins, sorry, shouldn't say that, by 0.114 of a second over McBride.
It's about our 3rd very close finish, Bob.
Yes.
For the weekend.
And Liston only 0.8 of a second behind McBride. A big gap for Formula 4s back to Davison. Then Reed, Koutamides, Nettleford. Willing is the first of the FP cars. Richardson, Faulkner brings up the top 10. And the first of the FA cars is Manifold in car number 74, which is down in 14th place. But the first of the Group A cars. So that's it. Another exciting close, fabulous race from the Formula Fords. Thank you, Ronald.
Thanks, Bob. Good call there for the Formula Fords, of course, which were brought to us by Cool Drive Distribution down there in Lexington Road in Box Hill. Thank you to the Blanchard family for assisting us with this particular event and for this whole weekend.
Are you a motoring enthusiast? Shannons are giving you the chance to win a trip for two to the 2024 Monaco Historics. The 11-day trip includes airfares, luxury accommodation, Monaco Historic Race hospitality tickets, and $10,000 spending money for eligible Shannons Club members. Plus, win the all-new Indian motorcycle FTR Sport. Get 10 entries when you take out new Shannons insurance on your special car, spouse's car, daily drive or bike, and 5 entries for new Shannons home insurance. Call Shannons on 134646 or go online today.